Hello fans, I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and we're going to take a look at the Oddtone ARGB and PWM fan hub. It supports 10 fans plus ARGB strip. You can plug it in to the SATA for power. You can also use the motherboard to control it, or you can use the included radio controller. Ooh. And let me show you how to put this all together. So this is your SATA connector that's going to go to your cable for SATA from your power supply. And you're going to plug it in on right over here where it says power. And you want to make sure that you match up the sides. So you'll see that this side has kind of a U shape on it with a couple of ridges there. That will go toward the top side. So you just push that in there. And then you can take this one, and this one has a very interesting connector that I've not seen before. And this one is for the PWM, so that goes where it says PWM in. And again, you're going to want to make sure you're orienting this correctly. So look at where the holes are, which is actually, they're hard to see because of the way this is sculpted, but it's going to be like that. There you go. And I guess the anti-ridges, the slots, the slots are going to be facing up. You just slide that in. Oops. A little bit difficult. I hate this when they don't design things properly so that it's easy to connect. The parts. Oh boy. Hold on a second here. Let me get this done. 10 minutes later. That was fun. So I thought I got it in there, but it accidentally bent one of the pins out of position. So I had to wrangle it back in to position with an assortment of different tools that I've got. And I was a little bit nervous that it was going to break, but my plan was that if my attempts to fix it had failed, I was going to contact the vendor and say, hey, you know, this is a really bad design. And it is, don't get me wrong. This connector that I've never ever seen before is really not conducive because the interior here has not been designed to receive that plug. It's really annoying. Anyways, I had to take a tool and carefully angle the tips of the 3 pins downward some more so that I could actually connect this. Now that one's done. So that's great. I shouldn't have taken so long. It shouldn't have been so difficult. And now this one is for the ARGB. And the connector for that is, I believe, right here. But let me just double check on that. Yeah, so it's going to be connected to the one that says PCN, which is right next to the one that says PWM. And it's got a 2-pin JST connector, which looks like that. I know it's hard to see, it's so small. And this one, again, it's, if you look at it carefully, the side that has the ridge in the middle, which I don't know if you can actually see that or not, but there's a ridge in the middle there. See that? That's going to face toward the top, and that goes into the PC in. And now you've got one left, and that's the key. The key can be used, number one, for connecting your power keys ARGB or RGB lighting to this so that this will control that light as well. Strangely enough, in the visual instructions on the listing, it says that here next to the power cable, you can connect an ARGB strip. but there's no place to connect it. So I'm not sure what they meant. And we do have two blackened magnets here. So you can stick it to a piece of metal. You can't see that, can you? Well, anyways, you can stick this to a piece of metal in your case so that it's out of the way. You don't have to worry about using adhesive. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get this hooked up. All right, so I've got these three cables connected. I've got the SATA hooked up here, and here is the the PWM and the ARGB, and now all that remains is to connect this fan to the hub. So we're going to take the PWM connector, which looks like that, and we're going to plug that into the first position. This is called port 1 or sometimes port 0. It is the controller. So all the fans that have PWM will follow whatever instructions are given to this fan by the motherboard or software or BIOS, whatever it is. So you're going to just plug that in there. And that should be pretty easy. And then you're going to take your ARGB connector. It's a 4-1, so there's 2 on one side and 1 on the other. And you're going to plug that into the same spot underneath, that is to say. And it's got the 2 to the right. Oh, I don't want that running right now. And so you're going to just get that plugged in there. Don't worry. You're not going to hurt yourself unless, of course, you've got the power on. Okay. So it looks just like that. Yes, I know it's not easy to see, but I can't bring it much closer. There we go. That's the best I can do. So now we can see that this is powered on. Now the irony here is that because I've got the SATA power connected up, this fan is running even though I have not provided it power from the PWM connector. So we can actually increase that theoretically, but it's not actually doing anything, and it could potentially blow out the fan if it's trying to take power from both the hub and the motherboard, and the hub or motherboard plus the SATA connection. So only use one or the other. And you can see that the fan's lights are going just fine, no problem there. And now we need to look at the remote control. Now, please remember with the remote control, there is this little thing sticking out here, and that separates the circuit from the battery. So you need to pull that out, set it aside if you're going to need it, in case you're not going to like often use the remote control, or take the battery out completely. And let's play with this a little bit. Now these top 2 ones are for turning it on and off, supposedly. But this one on the right that looks like the settings button there, that actually switches between control by the hub and control by the motherboard or software. And then the next row down is speed up and down. The next row down is, the middle is demo, and then the 2 on the sides are for the mode. So we can change the mode. And this is demo, so it'll just switch through them one by one. We can make it go faster and slower. And then down below, we can change the brightness, the yellow buttons. And then the next one down, we can change the fan speed. We can make the fans go faster. We can make the fans go slower. Ideally, when you're putting together multiple fans on one hub, they should be the same fans, because sometimes if there's a big difference between the power consumption of one fan, the master fan versus the other fans, it can cause problems. And then there are the single color buttons down at the bottom there. Now, as you see, when I press that button, it turns off the lights. It doesn't turn off the fan. We also have a lock button right there. You have to hold it down for, well, it said 5 times. I think what it actually meant was 5 seconds, but let me just check here. And that's about 5 seconds right now. And nope, that is not it. So try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we go. Now, oh, it's still, okay, I'm doing something wrong. Anyways, that's how you use it. I'm going to say that because of that weird PWM adapter that it's working just fine. And if you think you're confident to be able to connect that PWM cable without damaging the pins, and if you do damage the pins, you feel comfortable that you're going to be able to fix the pins, go ahead and get this. But otherwise, I would say pass on this one just because of the risk of breaking it. And, you can contact the vendor and say, hey, this crappy thing ended up causing its own damage, so I want a replacement, or I want my money back, or whatever. But yeah, it does a good job. But that little thing can make or break the success of a product. If they don't put a socket in here to match the plug, it can make it so much more difficult and so much riskier. So that's it from me. If you have any questions, put them below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
I need to ask for your help. Things have been challenging. Whose life hasn't been challenging lately? So if you can please help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and turning on notifications, that would be really, really super. Also, if you'd like to help me financially and you can't afford to, you can do a super thanks on my Glenn's Fast Reviews channel, or you can become a member there. Or if you prefer, you can go to patreon.com/GLENNMII and become a member there instead. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Bleeping Computer for their support of my channel. If you need resources for computers, for getting rid of malware and learning about cybersecurity and stuff, Bleeping Computer, BLEEPING computer.com is a great resource. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.